Hi, everyone. I'm Tish Conlon, and I'm here today with another episode of Tish Talk Podcast. Today, I have Terry Hadar with me, an amazing woman who I've gotten to know. It's been such a pleasure. Terry is a former correctional officer for the province of Ontario. She's a member of an organization that she's going to tell you about called Police on Guard, and it is an incredible organization, as well as being a national coordinator for another organization called Mama Bears. So she's taken on more than her fair share of helping our country, and I'm so proud of her. It's been such an honor to get to know you, Terry. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Oh, great. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I always enjoy the pleasure to let people know about Police on Guard and Mama Bears. It's a very, very important initiative.
Oh, yeah, you know what? And I believe so as well. And I think there's a number of people who might be tuning in today who've maybe never even heard of Police on Guard or Mama Bear. So we'll break it down in terms of why you got involved, maybe, and what the mission is, and maybe if people are called to, what they could do to help support these incredible groups that are helping our country, and most importantly, I think we both agree, our kids who have been impacted more than anything with the COVID situation, with the lockdowns and the mandates and everything else. So, let's dive in by talking about what inspired you to get involved in both organizations and really what their mission is, so people can learn a little bit about them.
Okay, well, thanks. Well, like I said, I'm a retired correctional officer, and I had heard about Police on Guard because they're a group of active duty retired peace officers. So we encompass police officers, military, border patrol, firefighters, and correctional officers, anybody that takes an oath to uphold the charter. Kind of heard about them, and I thought, well, I'm just a retired jail guard. What would they want with me? And then I got arrested at Queen's Park because I wouldn't leave. And then in speaking to the cops there, they hadn't heard about Police on Guard. And I thought, okay, this is my mission. God gave me the gift of gab. So as I'm at Queen's Park every day, every Saturday, I'm going to speak to the cops. So I joined. I got more involved, started speaking on behalf of POG at rallies, and I'm part of the admin team now. So our mission is, I don't have the mission statement in front of me. It's on our website, and I won't read it because, people can do that themselves. We were founded when two active duty officers, one out of York Region and a Toronto, saw a guy being pulled off the pond in Calgary. It was in December of 2020.
Oh.
He was pulled off the pond in Calgary outside playing hockey without a mask. And the situation escalated to the point where he was almost tasered.
Oh my geez. Yes.
Two active duty officers, like I say, out of York and out of Toronto, said, no, this is wrong. They penned a letter on social media and said, hey, we're like, this is not what police officers, the way that they should be conducting themselves. Right. Other active duty officers reached out, and from that's how Police on Guard was formed.
Wow,
so
amazing.
Yeah, it is. And so from there, we were lucky enough to retain Rocco Galati, one of the premier constitutional lawyers in Canada.
Yes.
And in May of he is. And he's ferocious, man. He certainly is a patriot. And in May of last year, he filed a statement of claim in Ontario Superior Court, and named in that statement of claim as the Attorney General of Canada, Ontario, Premier Doug Ford, and the police chiefs of Ottawa, York Region, Toronto, Niagara, and Hamilton. Because we feel that these emergency orders that our cops are being told to enforce are a clear violation of our charter rights and freedoms, and thus it's putting them in a position of breaking their oath that they took to uphold that. So that was our first initiative, I guess say. So I mean, that is before the courts, and unfortunately we know the courts aren't very quick to be addressing these issues. Since then we now have we try and educate the public about their rights. So we have Question Tuesdays. We've put a halt on that right now, but you can certainly go back onto our website. Our website is policeonguard.ca. You can go through all the Question Tuesdays where the public could write in, and Rocco would answer those questions so they could have an understanding of what their rights were and how to handle a situation.
Is
We had
Rocco recovering, or do you have an update on Rocco?
Rocco is recovering. He and I'm actually, so what he is going to be filing next week, another lawsuit on our behalf, when Trudeau came out and said that all federal and federally regulated employees had to take the COVID-19 vaccine, otherwise they would lose employment. Police on guard stepped up to the plate. We coordinated that, I guess. We did the groundwork. We gathered all the information, the retainers, everything, handed to Rocco. He is going to be filing that next week. There was obviously a delay because of his health. He was very ill, but he's on the mend. He's back in
Excellent.
action, and
Excellent.
we're so
Oh,
pleased to hear that.
that is such good news.
Yes.
Some people, because I've run a recruitment firm for over 20 years, and I was very strong in my stand against mandates. So because of that, last year I lost some business. But I've even found with very moderate companies who thought maybe this is a good idea, didn't really understand it was being kind of promoted. They've come back and they've told me they realized it was really wrong. It not only was it discriminatory, but we're looking at something experimental. The evidence of a natural immunity is now so strong with so many studies, not just internationally and here in Canada with Dr. Stephen Pellick, and just the treatments available, including the supplements, vitamin C, D, zinc, and quercetin is a great way of overcoming COVID. And even some of the very safe treatments like ivermectin that are being squashed now, and you can't even access them in Canada. But we're seeing even at sort of the mainstream is starting to understand that these mandates were very, very harmful. And you're losing good talent too, people who would want to be with a company. So it's hopefully the message with the legal actions and all the work done with police on guard will wake up people so that this never happens again. This is absolute.
And that's it. And we know that our legal action that Rocco has filed is not going to fix the problem right now. We understand that. However, you just said it, Trish, it's to prevent this from ever happening again, because
Yes.
Section 1 of the charter says demonstrably justifiable, and in no court of law, in no data has the government been able to show any justification for any of these mandates. So that is why we're fighting so hard for the Canadian people.
Yes.
I mean, we've got some very, very brave officers and members. Constable Adrian Gilvesi, she's a Metro Police officer. She's among one of the many that are under well, actually, she's been fired now because there was 200 Metro cops that refused to take the vaccine. So they've but before that, when Chief Raymer first came out and said that they had to take the vaccine, she said no. And she wrote him a letter and she outlined all the violations. And then she followed that up with an official misconduct complaint against him. Professional stench. So he's currently under investigation for a number of violations of provincial act, as well as assault under the criminal code.
Oh, you know what? And I think people who may have, who are listening in, who maybe they decided of their own free will, they wanted to take the experimental vaccine, as you call it. They still, I think as Canadians, we need to realize in a democracy, if we want to have a democratic country, we need to uphold our constitutional rights. And part of that is freedom of choice and bodily autonomy. So we know now that the shots, they're not really that safe, and that's there's a lot of safety issues as a minimum, and then the efficacy, you're looking at multiple shots. And I think people are starting to understand it's really a wrong idea to mandate something experimental. It goes against the Nuremberg Code as well. And sometimes media, we're starting to realize the media is not truthful, even for those who follow it religiously. And it's a time to wake up and understand and come together as a country. So this isn't a divisive, this is a unifying action. Everyone needs freedom of choice. Could be another thing that they mandate. And the person who took this vaccine doesn't want this next thing because of any number of issues. So we have to have freedom of choice, and we have to be able to debate these issues. When you squash our freedom of speech with censorship, the doctors aren't allowed to speak out. And there are thousands of them, even in Canada. I mean,
Mhm.
you're aware of them, and we both met them and talked to them. And I mean, I've worked with the COVID Care Alliance and the Canadian Health Alliance, are another two great organizations. What's your involvement in the legal action with Brian Peckford for mobility rights that are also being squashed? Is it true that Canada is the only country where people who didn't take the experimental jab can't travel across their own country?
That's my understanding, yes, that we are the only country that anybody that has not taken this experimental injection is prevented from boarding a plane, a train, or a bus. So,
Unbelievable. Yeah.
yeah, it is. I mean, it's a clear violation of our charter rights and freedoms. And that's why, Police on Guard is fighting so hard. We're doing a lot of things behind the scenes. Something it is as simple, but it's not as simple. It's because it's really important for the Canadian people to know that we are here and we're not going anywhere. We are not giving up this fight until we win it, and we will win it. We know that
Yes.
we will win
Excellent.
it.
Yes.
The Toronto group of Toronto teachers, very brave. They went to Toronto Police Services last fall, and they said, we want you to investigate the Toronto District School Board for extortion because they're threatening us with our jobs unless we comply with this experimental injection. And the
Yes.
Toronto Police Services basically told them, go away, leave us alone, stop filing your complaints. So Police on Guard wrote a letter to the Toronto Police Services asking them why they were not doing their job, why would they not investigating a legitimate complaint. So
Excellent.
there's a divide because we've seen what's happened in our country with a lot of police actions. Again, I'm an old lady with a cane at Queen's Park, and I got arrested.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah.
Right.
Police on Guard does not condone anything that goes against the charter. So there's a divide, and officers are put in a really, really difficult position
Yes.
of when you understand, it's the military, it's that chain of command, and you just simply do not, you just don't disregard an order. However, police are also obligated to not follow an unlawful order. So like we understand, and it puts the officers in a position of, they don't know, they're in limbo, and that's why our statement of claim. But we started a year and a half ago with 2 officers, and we are now in the thousands.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. And I
Yeah.
know I saw you and I heard you speak in Durham, which is where I live,
Mhm.
to support Constable Aaron. Is it Aaron Howard?
Aaron Howard. Yeah.
Very bravely spoke out and
Mhm.
upheld her oath, and her conscience of doing right for the people. And I
Right.
really hope that there's no action against her. She should, I mean, officers that do that actually should be held up as heroes and exemplary. And
Mhm.
I'm just hoping and praying for her for, I think it's June now that her disciplinary hearing has been pushed off
Yeah.
to.
It's
Yeah.
June 8th. I mean, and she's not the only one, unfortunately. She's the one that has, I guess, gained notoriety because of her video. She was the first one to
Oh,
come out in
yes.
support. I mean, and
For the
support of the
truckers,
truckers,
right?
right?
Yes.
But I mean, we have a number of officers. I mean, Officer Gilvesi, we've got a number of officers across the country that are members of POG that said, no, like, this is why we became an officer. We want to help the community. We want to protect the people. And we
Yes.
want to stand for our charter and for the Constitution. And unfortunately, those officers are all facing charges under the Police Services Act for upholding the charter, which is what they took an oath to uphold. I mean, it's so upside down. I can't even
Crazy.
start to
Yeah.
explain that. I mean,
Yes.
that's the climate. That's what's happening right now with our officers. So they, those officers are very brave, and they're putting their livelihoods. They all have families to feed as well. So
Yes.
it's a fine it is a fine line, but as we move along, we keep getting more and more officers. We have more military coming on board that are just saying,
This
this
is
isn't
wrong.
right. This isn't
Yeah.
right. And
It's
we
wrong.
need to stand together. So yeah, I mean, we're doing a lot behind the scenes that perhaps people don't see. I mean, a number of our officers, we had a lot of officers boots on the ground in Ottawa. A number of our
Excellent.
members were in key positions
Wonderful.
in command center. Tom Marazzo is a member of
Yes.
POG. I
Yeah.
could name
Friend. Yeah.
several of them.
Great guy. Yes.
So, it's sometimes people think, well, what are you doing? Where's all the cops? And I say to them, you know what, if you have that magic wand, please share it with me. Cause I would be like
Yes.
Jimmy Pop. I would walk. Well, I wouldn't walk. I would drive across this country and wave it over every police
Yes.
station detachment, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's the same thing. We just need to keep
Trying.
exposing the truth and
Yes.
letting people understand what's going on. And we know that 99% of these cops are good people.
Yes.
And they
Absolutely.
just unfortunately are not being given the truth. So they don't really understand that they are breaking their oath. They think that they're following lawful orders. So
That is, you know what, it is a huge education campaign. And when you have censorship in the media, not just censorship, but you have media actively engaging in, I would say, weaponized articles that are fraudulent and creating division and fear on a regular basis. That needs to be addressed absolutely down the road. I'm happy to hear people saying that defunding the CBC will be an outcome that we have down the road. So there's so many issues to face. I mean, what could anyone do who's kind of realizing there's been these gross overreaches? Is there anything they could do to support police on guard? What would you suggest would be some of the things they could
well,
do?
I mean, follow us on social media first off, right? Just to get the word out
Yeah.
about what we are, because I actually am amazed.
Share. Yeah.
I was in North Bay. Was it North Bay? I went to North Bay, I don't know, a month or so ago, and I was amazed at the number of people that are. We have a lot of people coming to the freedom movement that are new. A lot
That's
of
good.
yeah,
That's
right.
good
We
to
have a
hear.
lot, but a lot of people hadn't heard of us. So I mean, it's just getting the word out, because what we're finding is, if an officer is in a detachment or a station, especially a smaller one, we find that with the RCMP or the OPP, they're up north and, there's only 10 officers in the detachment and they're the only ones that's saying, okay, this isn't right. Like, and they're feeling
Yes.
alone. And then they hear about POG and they find out and they go, oh, wow,
Yes.
there's thousands of officers that
Yes.
are standing. And, there's strength in numbers. So
There
yeah, I
is.
mean, absolutely, follow us on social media
And
uh,
share
and
it. Yeah.
share. And yeah, I mean, we have POG cards and we have a lot of people that share that. It's I see a police officer anywhere and it's like a beacon. I just go up and
Yes.
speak to them and let them know and give them a card. I mean, some are willing to take it, some are not.
Yes.
That's
Great.
Yeah, you can support us by donating, because we have the legal actions. I want to talk about some other things that we're doing, but what you can do is our charter rights and freedoms. I'm going to talk about the masks. Our charter rights and freedoms state that we have bodily autonomy. And the first thing I did when the mask mandates came out, I went and I looked under the health order that came out from the health ministry.
Yes.
And it said very clearly that there was a medical exemption. And under that medical exemption, I mean, this is mind blowing now because you have to your QR code to get into a restaurant for your vaccine, but they're not allowed to ask what that medical exemption is. That is your own private information.
Right.
So I never wore a face diaper because I have a medical exemption.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not allowed to ask me what that medical exemption is. So I say to people, can you imagine if in July 2020 here in Ontario, everybody had just said, no, We're
Yeah,
not, we're not wearing that. We're not putting that on.
yes, that
Would
would have been
we
so
be,
good.
would
Yeah.
we be sitting where we are now? And I've got to venture to guess that no, we would not.
It's an excellent point. And when I follow both left and right media, I always have, try to stay balanced. I'm a moderate person, and it's funny to be called an extremist. And I educate people because you're actually following the law. That's the moderate path. The people and the government, when you veer off that, that's when you're heading to an extreme realm. When you follow constitutional law and you want to hold your government accountable, that's about as moderate as you can get. But when you look at the way they responded to the situation, the pandemic in places like Sweden or places like Florida, you see, and they never closed the schools. That even with the mask, there was this incredibly brave girl. I think she showed up to school 20 times and refused to wear it. I was just like, that's me. Go, you go.
Yeah.
So nothing made me happier as to seeing the kids here in Ontario, particularly in my riding, because I fought that with the board trustees to be unmasked. We know it had actually zero benefit from a health perspective, but it was extremely harmful, not only for their physical health, having carbon dioxide buildup and whatever all the plastics are in those terrible masks and the chemicals and the toxins, but the psychological impact we see is like just absolute devastation to kids' psychological mental health, as you know. I'm so passionate about that. And kids have been at the lockdowns. We had the worst lockdowns, I think, in the world in Ontario. So our teens and kids have been absolutely hammered.
Yeah.
And the masks are a symbol of fear. As you know, I didn't wear the mask because I care about people, I care about people's health, and I care about mine, and I didn't want to be promoting a lie. I didn't want to harm myself, and I didn't want for people to think that these coverings were at all effective. Virus particles are so small. They fit through that plastic sheet that you put up that they made all the small businesses pay for. They fit through the mask and everywhere else. But that promotes the lie, which I call it boldly is a lie, and it promotes the fear. And still today, I try to talk to people, I plant the seeds, but there's people wearing the mask inside and outside, and we've all seen the people in the car wearing a mask. So it's absolute brainwashing done effectively. We both agree.
But to carry on with what I was saying is that, I mean, I may be wrong. I've been wrong once or twice in my life, but I do believe that the mandates are not done. And, I ask people, they come back with the mask mandates. What are you going to do? Because I've heard responses from people that know that there is absolutely no scientific data to support wearing of the mask. I mean, in fact, in 2015, the nurses in Ontario won a grievance because they were told that if they didn't take the flu shot, they had to wear a mask, and they grieved it and they won. And they won because it would have been discriminatory, because then they were being centered out as not have taken the flu vaccine, which would have divulged their personal medical information, which is against the charter. And also because there is no scientific data to show that wearing a mask prevents a virus. So I ask people that, if they bring this back, what are you going to do? So I've had people say, well, you know what, I don't want confrontation, or, oh, people look at me funny. And I say, so it goes back to the old, my parents used to say to me, sticks and stones can break your bones, but names will never hurt you. So what if they look at you funny? So what if they say something, you smile because they can't smile because their face is covered, and you say, have a nice day.
Absolutely.
And you walk on and you don't engage. But as long as we keep complying, they're going to keep trying to control us. So I ask people that, you have to step up to the plate. It's great to say you're fighting for our freedoms, but what are you doing? And that's something very simple.
Yes, it is.
Everybody, you don't have to be involved in an organization. You don't have to volunteer your time. You know what? You just have to say, I am going to stand for my charter rights and freedoms. I'm going to walk into this store like the free Canadian that I was born, and I'm not putting that face diaper on. And, if somebody wants to be confrontational, if you happen to get a police officer that comes by that's not quite understanding, you know what, don't confront, don't
No,
make the situation worse, just walk away. But you need to show people that you're not afraid, that they don't control you. Because as I say,
absolutely.
if we had all said in 2020, we're not putting those things on, we would not be sitting where we are right now today. I'm convinced.
Absolutely. I
I'm convinced.
absolutely agree. I mean,
Yeah,
it stems from leadership. We have massive leadership issues. Look at Ron DeSantis, Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida. What an amazing leader!
yeah,
And I say most people in Florida, they just carried on with their life. And, the result is they actually fared much, much better than other states in the US. And, we have see Sweden. So I guess, I mean, people, it's all about courage, overcoming the fear and living in courage, not being afraid to take a stand. And you can do it in peace and harmony. I,
hmm,
you know, I wanted to move on because the damage done to our children is something that it just weighs on our hearts. And
right,
I'm having two kids. So not only are you working for Police on Guard, but now you've stepped up and you're doing a huge amount of work for this organization, Mama Bears.
right.
Can you tell people, a lot of people haven't heard about Mama Bears, what you're all about, maybe how people can follow you as well and reach you, and why
Right.
you were inspired to take that on as well? Because I know I was talking to you and you were working like 16-hour days at one point, just killing it.
Yeah. But before I do that, I do want to share a couple
Oh,
more things about Police on Guard.
absolutely.
If your audience was not aware, we coordinated and co-hosted an international conference. It was a couple of weeks ago. It was called "And Then They Came for the Canadians." And we had some huge heavy hitters on that call. I mean, the Honorable Brian Peckford did a very good history lesson that I did not even understand about the Constitution and the Charter.
Really.
We had Gert Van Bersch on there, Dr. Peter McCullough, Tess Laurie,
Oh,
Dr.
I
Paula
wish I
Isham.
was there. Oh my God, I
Well,
would have
that's
loved
what,
to have been at that.
anyway,
Yes.
Dr. David Martin. So that's why I want to let people know about it. It's on our website,
Oh, I gotta check that out.
policeongard.ca. Everything is time stamped. So you can go there and you can see exactly which doctor is presented. And you can go to whatever time that it's all marked there. You can go and you can listen to them. And the information in there was mind blowing. It was fabulous. So we
Wow.
are working, that was an international coalition,
Wow.
and we're working on putting something together in June, and it will be strictly on Canadian content. So it'll be Canadian doctors. There'll be some, unfortunately, vaccine injured victims are going to give their stories. So stay tuned for that. We'll obviously be promoting that on our social media.
Wow. It's
And
huge.
yeah,
Yes.
and then for your audience, I don't know if they've heard of Lieutenant Rogers. He's out of the States and he has expressed concern for what's going on in Canada. Because I mean, I think we have the largest or the second largest unprotected border geographically in the world, right? Between the States and Canada.
Mhm.
So obviously they're watching what's going on up here. So Police on Guard is working with him as well. So again, I want people to know that we're not going anywhere. We're working behind the scenes. We're doing a lot of stuff because we are not going to stop until we get our freedoms and democracy back in this
Oh,
country. And people
that
can count on that.
that is so
Yeah,
incredible. I'm absolutely going to go to your website and look at that.
yeah.
Those are such amazing individuals that are fighting in the US. I follow Dr. McCullough
Mhm.
and I've been so impressed with him. He's one of the most published, if not the most published cardiologists in the world. And he's been
Yep.
speaking out against the harm of these shots for over a year. One of the first ones, he saw the adverse reactions that were being underreported
Mhm.
and scrubbed even from the VAERS database. And he came up with a protocol that was safe for early treatment. I mean, what an amazing man. I mean,
Mhm.
Dr. David Martin as well.
Oh yeah.
He's
Yeah.
just exceptional. And it
Mhm.
talked about how Trudeau is involved with the nanolipid particle company in a criminal, that
Yeah.
is kind of a massive conflict of interest.
Yes.
So I'm
Yeah.
interested that'll be very interesting. And even for people who don't quite agree, I think it's worth checking it out so that
Mhm.
you're educated on things that aren't appearing in our media at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
And
well,
then
that's
just,
great.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then as if, Chris Vanden Boss was not busy enough, 2 days later, he did a fabulous interview with the Honorable Brian Peckford again. And something will be coming out tomorrow. We've got a letter, we've drafted it as a recommendation of something concrete that we can do to bring change in this country. So that'll be that's our social media post for tomorrow. So I encourage
Wow.
people to, it's a letter, copy and paste it. Like, let's take some action. And again, I'm going to go back to what can people do? We've, and Mama Bears has done the same thing. We've got letters. It's a simple copy and paste, folks. It's a matter of taking a few minutes. And let's
Yes.
bombard these people and let them know what it is that we're the ones that elected them. They
Right.
work for us. Let's remind them that they work for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sending it to MPs and NPPs and senators, anyone in a position, and potentially doctors and teachers as well, principals,
Mhm.
anyone who's teaching our kids, who's in the medical profession. All you do is just cut and paste.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
So now to get on to Mama Bears, how did we, I don't even,
Yes.
how did we get into Mama Bears? Honestly, I don't know, there was a need. They were coming out in Ontario with they approved the jab for the 5 to 11-year-olds. And, we're very focused obviously on law and legislation, but it was like, okay, somebody needs to step up to the plate for our kid. We're here to serve and protect, not just necessarily adults, but children as well. So it's a collaborative effort with a number of groups across the country. You mentioned CCC, Canadian COVID Care, Canada
Yes.
Health Alliance, Vaccine Choice Canada, Canadian Frontline Nurses, Stand Up Canada, a number of groups.
Action for
And,
Canada. Yes.
yeah, so we've taken the lead. Police on Guard has taken the lead on this. And we've got 3 main areas of focus. The first area is education of parents around the dangers of this experimental injection. We have our website is mamabearsproject.com. We have a host of information on there from some very world-renowned, like Dr. McCullough, Alexander, Dr. Dratzi, Dr. Perro, it goes on and on.
Yes.
We have a lot of information on there. And we started December 1st. So we're very, very young, but I know that we're having an impact because we've received a couple of emails from parents that have said, thank you very much. Because of the information that's on the site, I was able to convince my spouse that our children didn't need to receive this.
Oh, that's fantastic news.
Yeah,
we have to tell people that, people who, we've been kind of conditioned that the word vaccine is something so positive. And yet, over the decades, the liability has been lifted from a lot of these big pharma companies. And when you're not accountable for products, things slip, to say the least. And with no accountability, you have safety issues. This one has never been put in humans as well before, so you don't want to put that in your child who was never at risk. Kids have, I think, 99.997% chance not only overcoming COVID, so that's better than a flu, better than even getting in a car, but they gain natural immunity, lifelong immunity. Kids used to have, when I was growing up, smallpox parties where you just, let's go get that because it's going to build your immune system. So we've gotten away from that 100%. And when parents are educated that it's not a bad thing to have exposure to this virus and get your immunity, they'll make better decisions, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We also had, it was disturbing, yet it was encouraging. We also had another mother write in that both her and her husband had received both doses. Their children were 9 and 11. They'd both received both doses and had an incident. The one was in grade 8, I believe. So maybe it was 12, whatever. And she didn't know that she had the option for her child to be exempt from any of those vaccines.
Oh.
When she found that out, and then she started looking and she said, I don't know where to go. because all of the information on the government website, I don't believe it. I think they're not telling me the truth. So, we were able to send her obviously in the direction of first choice would be Vaccine Choice Canada
Yes.
when it comes to the vaccines for the children. And, there was, and I think we're going to be facing this a lot. There was the
Yes.
remorse, the regret,
Yes.
the what have I done to my child? And, I had to encourage her and say, you did the best you could with the information you were given, and kudos to you, because now it would be easy to say, oh my, and keep your head buried in the sand, but you
Mhm.
haven't. And so
Yes.
kudos to you, because now you're asking questions. So
Well, I wanted to just interject here,
yeah,
because if people are listening and they've had this similar situation, I want to give them some good news. Is
mhm,
that although we don't know, there's so many new things in these products, and some of them are concerning, but there are detox protocols that are out there. And I do have access because I work in that field, and I've started a little detox clinic myself as
okay,
a sort of a healthcare, but there are ways to
mhm,
detoxify our children and ourselves from the shot. There's a number of supplements. There's things like NAC and quercetin. There's certain types of tools that are out there to help draw them out. So for people
mhm,
who did that and they're really regretful, or maybe this is scaring them, good to be informed. And
mhm.
then there's all sorts of ways that they can work to clean this out of their bodies. Just want, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Homeopathy. I mean,
yeah,
there's a number of routes to take.
yes.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, absolutely. So yeah, that's our main area of focus. And then we also realized that a lot of parents don't know about learning pods. They think that they have either the option of public school or homeschooling. And
Mm-hmm.
if you work, how do you homeschool? It's not possible. And a lot of parents are concerned about the curriculum in our
Yes,
public school systems. And I won't get into that, but I'll just leave it at that. So we
yes.
realized that there was a need for that. So we're connecting parents with learning pods. And initially I thought it would be as simple as, oh, we'll find these pods, we'll put them on our website, and Bob's your uncle, there you go, people will come and find them. Well, nothing could have been further from the truth, because of ministry regulations and with the masking and everything else. A lot of pods did not want to be listed
All
on any
right.
website.
Okay.
So our challenge is, there's a high demand. We're getting a lot of people writing in saying, hey, I live, in
Right.
Toronto, and can you tell me any pods? And so our challenge is to find those pods, and then the volunteers and able
Oh,
to put people together. So I will ask for anybody that's listening here today, if you do know of any pods that are operating, if you can, I get all the emails on the website on mamabearsproject.com. If you can just shoot me an email and say, hey, listen, this pod is operating. We will not make that public. We
okay,
won't give
great.
that information if,
Yeah,
if they want to remain totally anonymous. If I know there's one in Oshawa and I get somebody from Oshawa asking, if you want to remain completely anonymous, I'll reach out to you, and then
right.
you can reach out to that person that's inquiring. So we just need to know of the pods so that we can connect.
So for people who aren't aware, and I have
Mhm.
teenagers, so they make their own decisions, and
Yeah.
regardless of how the curriculum is. But some people might want to know, like, what does this mean? Is there someone who's a teacher in a house, or a parent who's having 5 to 10 kids, and they come and are they all from the same age group, and she or he then offers the role of the teacher or facilitates the home learning? What does it mean in a nutshell for people who don't know what a pod is?
There is, if you go to our website, we also have an ABC of how to set up a pod. We had a couple of teachers that quit their job and they've set up pods, and that those pods are operating completely within ministry guidelines.
Yes.
They're
Okay.
registered, they're teachers. So there's that sort of pod. A pod is anything, if you have a group of parents
Yeah.
that are good with, Tish, I'm going to say with you teaching their children, there's
Mhm.
nothing that says that you have to have teaching degree.
Right. Okay.
Whatever those parents are happy with.
Mhm.
I've talked to people that have an age range from grade 1 to grade 7. I mean,
Oh,
it
excellent.
goes back to the old schoolroom house. I've had
Yes.
people that have told me that they have a teacher and that person teaches for 2 days a week, and then other parents fill in the other 2 days.
Excellent.
There's options where the kids just go 3 days a week. There's no set.
Yeah, I like that. Yes.
If you get that group of parents that are agreement that this is what they want, you have a pod. So it can be in somebody's house. It can be renting a church basement. It could be anything.
Oh, okay,
I
great.
spoke with somebody that has a yurt. I had to
Right.
look up,
Oh,
I didn't know what a yurt was. I had to look it up, but they're operating a yurt homes school. So there's that option. And then I've also learned about unschooling, which I had no idea about as well. And that's another philosophy. So that would be relative to homeschooling because you have to be home with your child, but
okay.
it's not homeschooling, it's unschooling. And
Oh, I like that.
it's the kid
Yes.
learns when the child is ready to learn. There's no set curriculum. We've got a couple of webinars on our website as well that people can listen into. It's fascinating. And
Interesting.
it's, if the children are interested, they'll learn, and they'll eventually learn. And we're so programmed that by grade 1 they have to be doing this, and by grade 2
Yes.
to be doing this. And the one mom spoke about her son was 8 and he wasn't reading, but a friend came over with a comic book and he
Oh,
couldn't read the comic book. So all of a sudden now he was interested to read and he learned
right.
to read. Right.
Wow.
So,
You know what? Yes.
yeah. So it's not for everybody, but again, so we're trying to be a resource
Right.
for
Good.
parents. If it's something to do with kids, you can come to our site, and hopefully, as we grow, we'll have more resources on there. But so the learning pods is an aspect we're looking at. And then initially I thought, recreation, because the kids were all in lockdown when we started. But then I realized that, in a lot of the small communities, people were already getting together. The kids were socializing and doing whatever.
Yes.
But talking to parents, it really hit home how the kids were suffering mentally. I mean,
Oh,
the isolation, the
absolutely.
missed graduate, like I could go on and on, we know. So, we're very, very fortunate again. And I'm going to go back to police on guard. We are very respected across this country. And because of the relationship that we had, I was able to pick up the phone and call Theo Fleury.
Oh,
And
wow.
say,
What an amazing freedom
yeah,
fighter he is.
yes,
Yes.
absolutely. And when I explained to Theo what we were doing with Mama Bears, he was right. You need to speak to my business partner. He put me on to a gentleman by the name of Eric Cousin. Eric is a founder of samehere.org. And Eric's story, he talks about it, but he was a CFO of one of the NHL teams, and basically had, for better words, a mental breakdown for 2.5 years, couldn't function, got better, and decided that he was now going to dedicate his life to helping people to get
Wow.
better. So he started this foundation or organization. And again, when I explained to him what we were doing with Mama Bears, he was like, right then. They have a program that they sell to the schools in the States. He says, we're going to do something for you. We're going to do it for free.
Oh, isn't that incredible? For the
Yeah,
kids,
and
we need that here in Canada. Our kids
Oh,
need that. Oh,
it is. So
beautiful.
it was a 6-week program. We just finished the last Wednesday. And what I thought was initially going to be strictly for the kids, for us to help our kids, turned out, well, it's for everybody.
Oh, everyone can use it.
Yes.
Yes.
And their theory is, the stats will say 1 in 5 suffer from mental illness. Well, no,
Way
it's not 1 in
higher.
5. It's all of us. All of us have experienced trauma in our lives, and it's how we deal with that. And so, and you go back to the oxygen in the plane, how can you help your child when you're not healthy yourself? So the 6
Absolutely.
weeks have been mind-blowing, the information that we've received. And in fact, it was so informative. The scale that they have, that they sell, it sort of got lost. It was talked about in one session, but it was kind of, and the scale that they have, and I'll just tell you a quick story about how effective it's been in the schools. And it's just a scale, it's all different colored, and it's got different faces on it. So kids can relate, and it's an app
Yes.
that you download. And initially when I heard that, I went, oh, an app, but you know what? That's the world that the kids live in.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah,
let's talk to them in their language.
absolutely.
So this app, they had it in the school, and it was, I think, New York City, and they had a security guard, and the kids used to call him Mr. Mike. And a little 9-year-old went up to him and said, "Mr. Mike, you don't look happy today." And I don't know, whatever he responded. And the kid pulled out his phone and said, and he pulled out the app and he says, "Can you show me here on the scale how you feel?"
Oh,
And then it was
wow.
like, "Well, why do you feel like that?" And that conversation went. So the next day, the guidance counselor was walking into the school, and, Mr. Mike went up to him and said, "Are you responsible for that scale thing coming into the school?" And she was like a little guarded because she didn't know if he was going to be angry. And she said, "Well,
Yes,
yes." He said, "I have to tell you what happened yesterday." And he told the story. And he said, "I felt so much better
yes.
afterwards." So it's a way to start the conversation.
Absolutely build empathy. We have to
Well,
learn to tap
yeah,
into our own feelings and really recognize other feelings and acknowledge them, because that's part of being human, is recognizing
yes,
and acknowledging feelings. That's
it is.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, a lot of kids are the same. How was your day? Good. Anything new
Yeah.
happened? No, nothing, that sort of thing. And with this scale, it's a way to start the conversation is, can you show me how you feel? Well, why do you feel like that? Well,
Yeah.
what happened that made you feel that way? And then parents can download it as well. And it's a great communication tool. Like it's fabulous. So he'll be doing a short video just on the scale as well. And
Okay,
we
great.
hope to have all that up on our website within the next week or two. And
Oh,
I encourage everybody to watch, it's going to be there forever. You can take your
that's
time, watch a session, watch
amazing.
it.
Oh,
It
oh my
was
God.
it was an absolutely amazing program.
Oh
So
my God.
that's
Yeah.
some of what we're
Huge.
doing. We've
Just
also,
again, to
yeah,
remind people, if they didn't catch it the first time, the website is Mama Bears Project is it .ca or .com?
.com,
.com. Okay, so
.com.
Mama Bears Project.com, all
Yeah,
these incredible resources. And
yeah,
this is all going to be free for both parents and kids.
abs-
All of these
absolutely.
tools for mental health, like for wellness,
Mhm.
tools that they can be educated and push back a little bit, get exemptions for these experimental shots that the kids don't
Mm,
need, and help really to get more involved with their kids' life in the community. Wow.
absolutely. Yeah, it's an amazing. What else we've done is, we've got an official notice on our website where you can print that off, send it off to your child's school, because it was written by a paralegal here in Ontario. And it, in no uncertain terms, tells the school, "You are not to touch my child," like that means testing or jabbing. And if you do, you will be held liable. We've got a sports letter on there that people can download, copy and paste, because even though they've lifted the mandates, some sports organizations are still pushing the jab for the kids.
Oh,
So, and
disgusting.
everything we do is from a soft approach. I think
Yes.
anybody that's been in this movement knows that you can't ram facts
No.
down people's faces. So, I mean, the sports letter starts with, "Thank you very much for volunteering your time so my
Right.
child can play sports." It's everything is a soft approach. We put out a letter for Tim Hortons, because we know
Yes.
that, again, for their camps, they were saying that the kids had to be jabbed. So again, that's on our website, and copy and paste
Excellent.
it, send it into them, let them know. James Top. For people that don't know who James Top is, he's a veteran. Well, actually, he's active, but not to be much longer, because he's under charges as well. But he is walking across this country to draw
Unbelievable.
awareness to our freedoms. So James is going to be in Ottawa at the end of June, but on June 22nd, he's meeting with some MPs, and he has asked that he have letters of support. He wants to walk into that. He wants to walk
Oh,
into that meeting with boxes full of letters. So
okay.
again, the address is on our website. It's under campaigns. Drop James a quick note. Just let him know that you appreciate his efforts and what he's doing. Your children can just draw him a picture, anything, just send it off to him. Like, this man is walking across the country. So
It's
again, to go to your question, what can people do? Let's
Yes,
stand behind the people that are out there doing stuff. So
absolutely.
yeah,
What a
um,
hero. And he's not making the media. Surprise, surprise. Nothing.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So we ask for that support, and also we have a campaign, and I'm going to ask people to participate in this as well. It's called In My Shoes, and it literally takes 2 minutes. Take a picture of your child's shoes. One mom sent in her daughter's flippers because she used to swim competitively. Your soccer cleats, skates, whatever it is. A picture, your child's first name, their age, and the province, and 1 or 2 lines just saying how these lockdowns have affected them. We'll be giving that to James as well when he meets with the MP, so that they understand what these lockdowns have done to our kids, because I could talk for hours about the damage. We know that
Yes,
the
me
suicide
too.
rates that have gone up, the eating disorders, like
Absolutely.
it's
It's
beyond.
atrocious. It is the
Yeah.
biggest, I think more than anything, the biggest tragedy is what's been done to our kids.
Absolutely.
And there have been many tragedies, much harm to our elders, even ourselves, every parent, every person, every small business owner, anyone who had a small business who was called non-essential, who was shut down,
Yeah.
and we could go on.
We could.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, thank you for everything you've been doing, Terry. Honestly, it's just the two like powerhouse organizations. And I know there's many in Canada, so people should be heartened. And people just waking up to what's happening, or who are, maybe think everything's okay, but questioning. I think it's important that they check out these sites as well, because none of this is making the news. And to be a critical thinker, to be informed, it's good to see what's going on in your own country.
Yeah.
That's how we'll get our
Yeah.
freedom back. So Police on Guard website again, it's policeonguard.ca.
policeonguard.ca and mamabearsproject.com.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to tell my audience about? I mean, we could go on for hours, but did I miss anything?
No, I think we hit all the key points. And again, I just want to reiterate, Police on Guard's not going anywhere. We're just getting stronger, and we are here for the Canadian people. We are here, and we will not stop. In regards to Mama Bears, yeah, we're not stopping either. I mean, and we've got stickers. If anybody, has time, they want to hand out Mama Bears cards just to get the word out. We have little business cards, same with Police on Guard. And we have stickers that you can put by light poles in parks. There's a QR code on it. You take a picture of it, and it brings somebody to our website. It's this pretty pink sticker.
Oh,
So if
wow.
anybody is willing to put them up around in their neighborhoods, let me know. Again, I'm the intake person on the contact on the mamabearsproject.com. So just let me know. And, we're always looking for help.
That's great. And how can people reach you directly then? What's your email, or what's the best contact for you if they want to volunteer?
I think the address is Terry Mama Bears at protonmail.com, but it's on the website. It's on the
website. Okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. I mean, and if people are reluctant or just want it, they're, a little concerned, they can, an hour a week would make a difference. 2 hours a week.
Absolutely.
And
Any
amount of time.
I forgot one thing too. James is going to be having a ceremony at the cenotaph on June 30th. So the Mama Bears will be marching with them. We're working on getting pink t-shirts right now, because we'll be walking in support of James and the vets. So, I mean, I don't care what side of the coin you're on with this. It's pretty hard to disrespect a vet or a mother.
Absolutely.
We welcome,
I'll be there.
welcome fathers as well. It's, you know what I mean?
Families. We want our families to be strong, and our country to be strong, and freedom, whether you're been here for 4 years or you're new Canadian, this is our country, and built on the foundation of freedom. So,
absolutely. And our charter. And we intend on upholding that charter.
Wow. Well, it's absolutely incredible. Thanks so much, Terry. And I will make sure this gets out soon. A lot of people will be, I think, really interested to hear about the work of these two powerhouse organizations. And thank you. Make sure you get some rest. You work so hard. Thank you. And see you in Ottawa, if not sooner.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for the opportunity, Tish. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. See you soon. Take care.
Bye.